Welcome back to The Whisper Knows. This is the place where stories don't scream, they whisper. Tonight's question is simple, and once you hear it, you won't be able to unhear it. What if it's true that something watches through your window every night? Most people think fear begins with a sound, a footstep in the hallway, a knock at the door, a whisper from the dark corner of a room that should be empty. But sometimes fear begins with something quieter, something still enough to trust, a shape outside the glass, a face you never fully see, a presence that never taps, never calls, never tries to come in. It only watches. Lena Marr first noticed it 6 nights after moving into the apartment on Wren Street. The place was cheap for reasons the landlord explained too fast. 3rd floor, old building, good view, a little drafty, nothing serious. What he meant was this: the windows rattled in calm weather, the pipes muttered after midnight, and the bedroom always felt occupied, even with the lights on. From the bed, the window looked over a narrow alley, a rusted fire escape, and the back wall of the next building. Nothing out there but brick, shadow, and the occasional flicker of a distant television. Lena lived alone and preferred it that way. At 31, she worked nights editing audio for true crime podcasts, cleaning up static, balancing voices, cutting breaths. She spent hours listening to fear without ever touching it. So when she looked up from her screen at 2:13 a.m. and saw a figure standing outside her bedroom window, she did not scream. She only stared, because her apartment was on the 3rd floor, and the thing outside was standing perfectly still, as if there were a floor beneath it. Lena kept her eyes on the window and slowly removed her headphones. The figure did not move. No waving hand, no tilt of the head, no breath fogging the glass. Just a tall shape in the dark, darker than the alley behind it, with shoulders too narrow and arms hanging too low, as if it had been assembled from a memory that almost understood the human body. Lena told herself there had to be an explanation, a trick of angles, a reflection, someone on the fire escape. But the fire escape was 3 feet to the left of the window, and whatever this was, stood outside her glass. She rose from the desk without making a sound. The room around her felt fragile. The hum of the laptop, the ticking radiator, the glow of the timeline on her screen. Everything seemed too small to protect her. The figure remained motionless until Lena reached the bed. Then slowly, it leaned forward. Not enough to strike the glass, just enough for its face to enter the light from her room. There was no face, only a pale oval where features should have been, smooth as paper left in rain. Lena stumbled backward and hit the desk chair. The figure straightened again. Then it lifted a long hand and pressed a finger to where its lips should have been. A gesture for silence. Lena grabbed her phone and aimed the camera toward the window. The screen showed the alley, the brick wall, the fire escape, nothing else. But when she lowered the phone, the figure was still there, watching. At 2:14 a.m., her laptop speakers clicked on by themselves. A new track appeared on the timeline, unnamed, unmuted. And from the speakers came a recording of Lena's breathing, from somewhere inside her bedroom. Lena froze beside the desk, listening to herself breathe through the speakers. Not a similar sound, not a trick of rhythm. Her breathing, shallow, uneven, afraid. The waveform on the screen moved in real time. Each inhale she took appeared a fraction later on the timeline, as if the laptop were not recording the room, but repeating it from a place just behind, the moment itself. Outside the window, the pale figure remained perfectly still. Lena stepped toward the laptop and muted the track. The breathing stopped. 2 seconds later, something exhaled softly from beneath her bed. She jumped back so hard her knee hit the mattress frame. The sound under the bed didn't repeat. No scratching, no movement, just one slow breath, like whatever had made it wanted her to know it had heard the recording too. Lena forced herself to look down. Darkness under the bed, storage boxes, nothing else. When she looked up again, the figure at the window was closer. Not by much, just enough that one hand now rested against the glass from outside, long and white and featureless, the joints bending slightly wrong. Then her phone vibrated. Unknown number. One new voicemail. Duration: 11 seconds. Lena did not press play. The notification vanished on its own. In its place appeared a transcription: "I can only watch while you look away." The bedroom light flickered once. Then the window gave a tiny sound. Not a knock, not a crack. A fingertip tracing the glass from the outside, slowly drawing a circle exactly where Lena's head had rested on the pillow every night since she moved in. And from the hallway, in a voice no louder than breath, someone whispered, "Don't let it see where you sleep, because then it will try the inside window." Lena turned toward the hallway so fast her vision blurred. The apartment door to the bedroom was still half open. Beyond it, the narrow hall stretched toward the kitchen in bands of shadow and weak yellow light from the stove clock. No one stood there, but the voice had been close. Too close. Lena backed to the bedroom wall, keeping both the doorway and the window in view. The figure outside had not moved again. One hand remained against the glass, waiting. Her phone lit up. Another message from the unknown number. Check the second window. Lena stared at it, confused. The bedroom had only one window. Then she remembered the mirrored closet door beside the dresser. She turned slowly. In the reflection, her bedroom looked almost the same. Desk, bed, window, chair. But not quite. The reflected room was darker, deeper somehow, as if the corners stretched farther back than they should. And in that reflected version of the bed, someone was crouching on the mattress behind her. Long limbs folded wrong, blank face tilted, watching her through the mirror. Lena spun around. The real bed was empty. When she looked back at the closet mirror, the crouching thing was gone. Now there were two figures in the reflection. One stood outside the reflected window. The other stood inside the reflected bedroom, just inches behind reflected Lena, one pale hand rising slowly toward her shoulder. Lena staggered away from the mirror. At once, the figure outside the real window tapped the glass for the first time. Once. Softly. Then the mirrored closet door began to slide open by itself, inch by inch, revealing not hanging clothes inside, but darkness with the faint outline of another bedroom beyond it. And something in that darkness was breathing in perfect time with her. Lena stood frozen as the closet door opened wider. No hangers, no coats, no back panel. Only a second room, hidden where no room could possibly fit, lit by the same weak glow as her own bedroom, but drained of warmth. It was her room. The same desk, the same bed, the same lamp, the same water glass on the nightstand. But everything there looked used by someone pretending to be Lena. The sheets were tucked too neatly. The drawers hung open. On the wall above the bed, dozens of black circles marked the exact place where a head might rest against a pillow. The breathing inside the closet stopped. Then a woman stepped out of the second room. She looked exactly like Lena. Same dark sweatshirt, same tired eyes, same loose braid over one shoulder. But her expression held something Lena had never seen on her own face before. Relief. "You finally heard it," the other Lena whispered. Outside the window, the pale watcher lifted its head. The other Lena noticed and went still. "Don't let it see us together," she said. "It learns the shape faster when both windows are open." Lena's mouth had gone dry. "What are you?" The woman's eyes flicked toward the bed, then the glass. "I'm the virgin that kept looking." The pale hand at the window tightened against the glass. A line of frost spread from its touch. The other Lena stepped closer, voice shaking. "Every night, it watches until you notice it. Once you do, it starts building the inside room. When the room is finished, it doesn't need the outside window anymore." Lena felt cold move through her bones. "Why?" The other Lena stared at her with exhausted pity. "Because then," she said, "it gets to watch from where you are." Lena did not answer. The room around her had become impossible. One version behind her, one version before her, one thing at the window, another breathing from the open closet. The other, Lena stepped back toward the false room. "You still have time," she said. "Close both windows before it crosses." The pale figure outside moved with purpose, its blank face pressed to the glass, and from somewhere inside the second room came a creak, like weight settling onto Lena's bed. Lena grabbed the desk lamp and hurled it at the bedroom window. The bulb burst. The glass cracked across the watcher's face. A sound came from outside. Not pain, not anger, but excitement, sharp and breathless, as if it had been waiting for her to choose. The other Lena screamed, "Not that one!" Too late. The mirrored closet door slammed wide open. The second room brightened, and something stepped out from behind the other Lena. Taller than both of them, pale, smooth-faced, wearing Lena's outline like a borrowed coat. It moved past her double and stopped in the middle of the room, watching, learning. Then Lena understood. The creature had never been outside trying to come in. It had only been teaching her which window mattered. She lunged for the closet door and shoved with all her strength. The other Lena threw herself from the inside, helping. For 1 second, their hands touched through the narrowing gap. Then the door slammed shut. The bedroom window went black. Silence returned. By morning, the closet held only coats. The window showed only alley. But every night at 2:13, Lena wakes to the feeling of someone standing beside her bed, looking out through her eyes. This has been The Whisper Knows, and some things don't need to enter your room to get inside. Good night.
Subscribe if you dare to listen.